along. Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit. And you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit. And you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit. And you can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Welcome everyone to your longest running Australian wrestling podcast for 10 years now, Wrestle Radio Australia. I'm your host, the poor man's Dave Meltzer, Todd Eastman, and I am joined tonight by my co-host because young Lachlan, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with the news at all, but up here in Queensland, we got absolutely slammed with some storms and lightning and all of that good stuff that always happens up here in Queensland. And poor Lachlan's house has been without electricity for like 4 or 5 days now. So unfortunately, he cannot join us. So we cannot do our award show tonight because you can't really have an award show where we're going to argue over who thinks could win one thing when it's one vote each. Doesn't really work for us.
And you and I would never agree, so we need Lachlan as a tiebreaker.
No, we started arguing in the chat when we hadn't even started the show. So I was like, it wasn't really going to work. I am joined, of course, with my co-host, Jeff Setti, the WrestleBrania behind WrestleBrania. How are you, my friend?
I'm really well, mate. I hope you and all our listeners had a great Christmas, and it's wonderful to have you here. If you're here on Twitch, or if you're watching us afterwards or listening to us afterwards, that's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's actually a bit to talk about this minute. Sorry?
How was your break, my friend?
Well, I'm off day job work until the 8th of January, and I'm off WrestleBrania work. Well, I am working on WrestleBrania. There's things happening, so the show being written and talent being organized. Oh boy! But there's also so I'm kind of doing that, but I'm off work. How about you? How was yours? That really didn't answer your question.
Yeah, it's fine. Not the best. If you can hear that coming, not the best. I got hit. The missus brought home a lovely flu, which she gave to everyone for Christmas, which was a lovely gift for her. Like, she gave me some great stuff. I'm not going to lie. She won Christmas this year. She got me a couple of pairs of Jordans, and that's always going to win Christmas. But she also gave me the coal, which I'm arguing at the moment in the court of Eastman that cancels out the Jordans. So I'm still trying to claim that I've won Christmas, but I don't think I'm going to win that somehow.
I would say it does cancel the Jordans, and you actually deserve another pair because you got the cold. So
I think so, yeah. So if you can hear that tonight, or if I maybe sniffle or
kill me when
accidentally cough. Yeah, she don't listen to this. That's why I get away with so much stuff. So if you hear a cough or a sniffle or something like that, that's the reason why I was crook in bed for most of like Christmas Day, Boxing Day sort of thing. And then it was real fun. So it is what it is. I did a little bit of writing and stuff like that, which I'm going to have to go back and read because it was probably all just nonsense and cough medicine. So, but we'll see. We'll see. We do have a couple of big sort of cards coming up because you've got Worlds End, which is on this weekend, and then you've also got Wrestle Kingdom, which is the 4th.
Yeah, it's next Thursday night, so we won't be doing a show next Thursday night because I always watch Wrestle Kingdom, so we can't do. We've either got to do the awards before then, or we've got to do the awards and Wrestle Kingdom. Oh, we couldn't do the awards on Wrestle Kingdom. We'll have to do
No.
the awards separately and then Wrestle Kingdom
We'll-
a little bit later.
We'll
But
talk
that's
about it.
that's actually, despite what I said a month or so ago, where I was complaining about the incomplete nature of the card, certainly there are some people missing who'll probably be on a New Year's dash, but really excited for the show. Hate that Ren Narita's now part of Torture Fuckballs, but hey, it's something for him to do rather than just being a sort of pale Katsuyori Shibata impersonation. Anyway, what do you want to look at first, Toddy?
I'll just let me say this first. Do you know what annoys me more about that is that because I can never remember which the two are the two. Between Sho and Yo, the one that I thought was going to have a big future was the one that joined House of Torture and has gone nowhere. And now Ren Narita, massive fan of, is joining them. I'm like, oh, what? I should stop liking people. That's the problem here.
I think he should have joined Finley's group because he wrestled so much in the US in the last couple of years. It almost makes sense for him to join Finley's group. Doesn't make any sense for him to join House of Torture.
Well, the funny thing is too that what are their names? Bloody
Clark Connor.
No. They're from AEW. They're the part of the 6-man tags.
The Acclaimed.
Didn't they join? No. Oh, sorry, the ROH 6-man tags with Brian Cage.
Yeah,
you know those guys. Didn't they join as well?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure I saw them putting on the shirts over the break during one of the tag league thing or whatever it was. But who knows? It's a New Japan mess that we can't really get around. Let's talk World's End. First of all, we'll talk about maybe we'll talk about what happened on Dynamite today, because I know that you probably haven't seen it, Jeff. I'm not too sure. But aside from the main event of the show, I thought this was a really, really good episode of Dynamite. The main event, and we'll talk about this probably at length when we get to the actual main event of World's End, left me going, oh, but it's one of those ones where, if somebody said, oh, how was Dynamite? So, it was great. But just end that show after Kingston's match, and it would have been a really, really strong show. The main event was sort of lacking.
I skim the results because I always I have this thing where I'm like, well, if it's a really good show or there's a single match that's really good, which increasingly, sadly, Dynamite has been, there's a single match that I really want to see. Don't care about Jericho, so I definitely skip his bits. Yeah, I know. I skimmed that and went the fuck. Obviously, I'm all in with Wheeler Yuta, so I watch everything Wheeler Yuta does, including little cameos for people.
I hate you with a passion.
So good. I'm still laughing about it, so it must be good.
I can tell, yes.
But I'm beginning to be interested in their women's division, and that's not just Toni Storm. They've actually lifted it a bit in that people are getting defined roles. They're not just random X person. Because sad to say, for a while there, Sky Blue was random emo punky chick, but now she's actually got a little bit more to do, which is kind of nice.
I mean, they passion thing their way to it, but they've sort of got there.
Yeah, they fell ass backwards in a lot of it and gave people creative control. I also think Toni Storm is absolutely hilarious in her current role. And look, I could watch her open an envelope and be laughing maniacally in the corner.
Yeah, I think the Dark Order thing this week, her and Alex Reynolds recreated one of the scenes from Home Alone, the 40s scene with the you filthy animal.
Yeah,
with that, but instead of a machine gun, she just threw shoes at him at the end. It was really funny.
That's great. It's such a good gimmick. And you're right, they could do lots of filmic skits and stuff. So I am interested in Dynamite, and of course I love Kingston, and there's several other wrestlers in their brand that I really like. But they're doing almost a 2000s WCW thing where they're giving old people the spotlight too much. I don't always want to see old people.
Yeah, I can sort of understand what you're saying there. It's a thing where I don't know what they sort of like have to really juggle between doing that and between like, because you've paid a lot of money for these people, so you got to have them on your show. It's just a matter of shoehorning people. Like there are certain people on this card that we'll talk about that like looks like they got shoehorned in World's End, but like you want to use them because you're paying them like an exorbitant amount of money, like certain people anyway.
Well, but, let's have a look at World's End then, because I think we're there.
Okay.
Hello, Tim. Tim Wilkes has joined us in the chat.
Needs more.
Lovely to see you. Have a happy Christmas, Tim. I hope it was a good one, mate.
So I'm just trying to work out how to do this, because if I can do it, we'll add some context to our. No, I can't do it. Some bitch. Oh, it's all right. Don't worry about it then. I was going to try and put up some photos of the actual the match announcements, but it doesn't matter. Does not matter. We have in this. Sorry, my friend. Go on. No, I
was going to say you can read it. Not we'll comment.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah, we can read it. I just wanted to try and add I'm constantly trying to grow this thing, my friend. Like I'm trying to work out a way that in future episodes we can do something where maybe through a Discord or something, people can call in and we can like have a Discord.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So it's all something that I've like thought about this week. I was like, I'll try. I've got to fumble around with it and see if I can get it to work. Anyway, we'll get started here. On the 0 hour for World's End, there is a 20-man battle royal for a TNT title shot anywhere, anytime. And also an FTW rules match for the FTW Championship. Hook against Wheeler, Utah.
Oh, you're so happy. How great spot for Wheelman, for the Wheel Star.
He might be able to bring another title home for me.
Toddy.
Who knows?
Toddy.
I am interested in this for the mere fact of this 20-man battle royal for the TNT shot is very interesting when there is a no DQ match later on in the night with Edge and Adam Copeland and Christian Cage. So that could be something that comes into play. Yes, Nick. We'll talk about that a bit later. So Nick Galea says I've been turned off the pay-per-view because I want Jericho to fuck off.
Nick Galea, I hope you had a great Christmas as well, mate. And I'm sure I'll see you, within the month.
Yes. We'll go through should we just go through matches one by one and we'll talk a little bit about
why not?
Easiest.
Well, I think we should start with the pre-show, though.
Yeah. We just did that, and it's going to be interesting. Wheeler Yuta and Hook, who knows? I had to laugh that I saw somebody going, I didn't realize that Hook had a New York accent. I was like, have you not been watching? Do you not know whose son he is?
Have you not heard his dad talk?
He's got the Brooklyn postcode on his fucking...
yeah.
Anyway, I can't see... They don't give us a match order, so we're just going to go... I'm going to go from the bottom up, and we'll see how we go. Andre El Idolo against Miro. They'll start... here's the interesting thing. I don't know if CJ Perry will be there, because we saw what happened to a finger this week. Yeah. So is it really like the point of having this match now when she possibly won't be there? Or do you wait, or should you wait until she's there? Or maybe she will be there, who knows? But I'm just saying, if she's not there, why are you doing this match now?
I wish I could muster up caring about this match. I really do. The storyline is vaguely interesting, in my opinion. They're both great as well. I can't see Miro losing, but I don't honestly care.
The
I think
interesting,
it'll be quick and painless.
I understand what they did because they've gone like he promised that he wouldn't attack Elo until the tournament was over, and now the tournament's over. That's it. He's going to take care of him because anyone that she started to manage, he was going to hurt. And that was the whole idea of the whole thing, which to me is like, how the hell is anyone going to go? Yeah, fine, you can manage me. There's not a Bulgarian monster coming after me. I'm fine. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. For this,
Tim said the story has been flimsy from the start with CJ Perry. Yeah, I think that's sadly consistent with her career, though. She's not really, aside from the beginning with Rusev, she's not had a lot to kind of, really get her teeth into. But sorry to interrupt.
Well, no, that's right. I mean, how much do you really put into her as a manager when she comes out on her Titantron? It says hot and flexible.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Anyway, you would think that Miro wins this, but who knows? Who knows what's going on? The next one is a match that probably should have happened a year ago or however long ago, but it's happening now because Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. Now, this is ADHD booking at its finest, where I think Tony just realized, hang on, I've still got that I haven't done.
Yeah, I've got Keith Lee here till Trips can pick him up again. Look, I think
sorry,
I think Lee's got to turn heel, and he's a great heel. And Swerve has just got to become the biggest babyface. And we get to see Nana dance. It's all good. I'm there. It's gravy, baby.
Yeah, I mean, actually, Swerve got really lucky this week because something kicked up online about a lyric to one of the latest song that he posted on I think he posted it on X. It was like an excerpt of the song and he was dancing to it, and the words weren't exactly very flattering, but towards women of color. And yeah, and I think he dodged a massive bullet here because didn't really catch fire. Thank God for him, because it'll be the worst time ever. Like when I saw it, I was like, "What the fuck are you doing? Not now! Not now! You've got momentum. What are you doing?" Because like there's something about him. Like it's hard to explain about him, but you like the guy. You want to watch him work. He's a good worker and he's got a great character. So the last thing you want to do is see him like hurt himself.
And he's fun. He's fun. Swerve is fun.
But you've got to think the Swerve wins this too. So where does that leave Keith at the end of this?
I think Keith Lee still has something. Honestly, I'd turn him heel and have him leave with Nana.
Yeah, but it's going to be, yeah. I mean, they could. They sort of teased a little bit of it on Dynamite, but here we go. Yeah. Alex Fireheart says, kind of surprising to see an AEW pay-per-view card with only 8 main show matches, unless they announce some random extras over the next day or so, which wouldn't surprise me. I mean, who knows? Because after what happened today in the main event, maybe they do an ROH tag title match somewhere down the line or something like that. Yeah, but we will talk about that later on with when we talk about the main event, of course. But yeah, you're right. It's interesting. We'll see if they do expand on it, because you've still got Collision to go. You've still got Rampage. There's still two shows where they could set something else up, or 1 or 2 things else up, or who knows else up. Next one we'll talk about is something that got absolutely shoehorned in this week, and it was one that I sort of alluded to earlier when I said you're paying these guys so much money, you probably have to try and find a spot for them on the card. It is, for no particular reason, an 8-man tag match. Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, Sting, and Darby Allin against Ricky Starks, Big Bill, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Kanushi Takeshita. It's really hard to say with a cold. I apologize. Yeah, this is Sammy Guevara is coming up to dangerously big show levels in turns. Like dangerously close to.
Yeah. He's at Lex Luger WCW levels, and he's about to get to the big show level. You know,
big show levels. That's fair.
It's within reach.
Yeah, I have there's multiple things that I have problems with in this match, right? One's the first one is Sammy just turned again for no apparent reason. Two is that Chris came to his rescue, even though he turned on Chris not too long ago.
4 months ago? 4 months
Yeah.
ago?
It was the last thing he did before he went away to have the kid. Sting and Darby Allin, if we're building up to a big last match for Sting, why the hell are we just throwing him into a nothing 8-man tag? Unless something is going to kick off from this. But if I'm looking at Big Bill, like Ricky Starks, Takeshita, and Powerhouse Hobbs, none of those four say to me big match at WrestleMania.
I'm sorry.
At Revolution.
Nick Galea has just popped me with this. Jericho was my favorite wrestler 25 years ago. I have no desire to see him wobbling around looking like a bloated Vince Neil in 2023. Retire with some grace, mate. Well said, Nick.
Well, I mean, the interesting thing too with Jericho is that I don't know if you kept up, or you've been keeping up at all with X with old mate Jericho's actions this week with Stephen P. New and all this sort of jazz. But I wrote an article that will be up soon on PW Down Under about it, which I'll probably talk about a little bit later. But essentially, what happened is that Stephen P. New and Ace Steel had been on a podcast with Rip Rogers for the last 2 weeks. Essentially, Stephen went on the show after Rip because of something that Ace had said on the previous week's podcast, where they were talking about the Brawl Out incident. Because if you've got them on, of course, you're going to try and ask, even though you know they've signed NDAs.
Yeah.
And Ace alluded to the fact that, yes, I've signed an NDA, Punk signed an NDA, everyone that was involved has signed an NDA. There's only one person that was at that event or at that incident that didn't sign an NDA, and that was my wife. And one day she might tell the story. So they got Stephen P. New on the next week because he was their lawyer. Now, if you don't know Stephen P. New was also a good friend of Jim Cornette, sponsors Jim Cornette's podcast as well. So Stephen P. New pretty much just says words agrees, just backs up Ace's story and says, yep, you're right. They have signed NDAs. Those NDAs are lifetime, so they can never talk about it. But she has not signed an NDA. She might not be the most unbiased point of view, but she's the only one that can talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, websites started linking that story and sending that story out. One of the websites, of course, is I think it's called Web is Jericho, which is run or owned by Chris. So Chris shared the link to that story with the added on of I didn't sign an NDA. And Stephen P. New sort of wrote that, well, you probably did. You probably have. But then Chris came back with I'll just quickly try and find, because I actually quoted it in the article so I could go back to it and reference it if I needed to. Sorry, I won't be a second. I wasn't expecting to talk about this so far in depth.
No. Yeah, I know. It's fascinating. Hey, Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Man, says Rebel. Hello, Rebel. It's funny you say that because I'm on a little weed. Anyway,
there we go. So then, here's the kicker, okay? Because this was all over Christmas Eve. He shared it on Christmas Eve, right? And then pretty much straight after he shared it, give it about half an hour to an hour, Stephen P. New just was a light jab back with it. And then at 4 a.m. on Christmas morning, Chris replies to Stephen P. New on X. Hey, Stephen P. New, I don't adhere to an employee handbook and have never had one in 4 years of working for AEW. I've never signed an NDA in my life ever. So stop trying to be a bully and making egotistical fantasy brags for your clients and start doing some research before you make blanket statements about your buddies. Because I saw everything that night, including how Lucy and her husband and best buddy acted and what really went down. And since I was in the room and watching her and everybody else the whole time, I know exactly what happened. And considering you weren't there and I was, maybe you should shut your mark ass up, because what really went down was disgusting. Now, here's two things about that, right? And not to say he's a liar, because it's not my place to say that. But if he was there, no one ever heard that he was there for the last year. And we heard that everybody was in that room that was there. And everybody that was questioned for the investigation signed NDAs. So if he was in that room and saw it and didn't get questioned and didn't sign an NDA, either one of two things happened. They were neglectful in their investigation, or he's lying. So there we go. So
Thank you
that's
very
another
much.
case. Yes, that's another case of, I think he's rapidly becoming Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
I was there, brother.
Yeah.
So, and that, my friends, is why he shouldn't be anywhere fucking around it.
But there's been some interesting comments here. Alex Fireheart says, much rather big Ricky Starks and Big Bill defending the titles against Sting and Darby or something like that. Tim Wilkes thinks Darby might turn on Sting. Ree says, hey, Bill and Ben, the Flower Pot Men. Nick says Starks' money and probably the best comeback story in wrestling. And that was kind of it.
The Alex Fireheart said, the most we know is that Jericho was the one to tell Tony that something was going down, best I recall. Yeah, and he didn't tell him until after when he left that press conference thing. So maybe he heard something had happened, but he wasn't, definitely he definitely wasn't in the room at the time. Because if he was, he would have been questioned. We would have heard that Chris Jericho was one of the people in the room at that time. And if he was in the room when there was a brawl and didn't break it up and just stood by and watched. Sorry, what?
It's pretty weird. Anyway, we should move on.
It's a tangled web. It's a tangled web we weave. Speaking of tangled webs, Julia Hart versus Abaddon for the TBS Championship. They've done a hell of a rehab on Abaddon, haven't they, over the last...
Yeah, they have. They're looking great. They look more ready for this title match than the last title match they were in.
Can I ask a question? Because I'm old and dumb.
Yes.
So please help me clarify this, right? Abaddon identifies as a they, them, yes?
They, them, yes. They do.
Then why is their nickname the Living Dead Girl?
That's their wrestler nickname, not their personal nickname.
Okay. So then...
But even
but I'm saying then, as a wrestler, when they're wrestling, wouldn't you call her a girl? Them a girl?
I noticed the AEW commentary team stay very neutral on this.
Well, they said it. That's why it's in their personal life. They're not
there. Yeah.
So, but when they are commentating about them, this is very hard to say.
Yes, it is. I get what you're saying.
Wouldn't you call them a girl when they're in that character?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like it when I saw it, it sort of went. I sort of like that's what I was like thinking. I'm like, wow, that is a hell of a minefield. Because if their nickname is the Living Dead Girl, and then you would assume that Living Dead Girl, okay, I refer to this person as she, her, and then they go, no, they're they, them. Then why are they Living Dead? Why couldn't they just be the Living Dead person, or you know what I mean, or something like that? I don't know. It was just a question I have. There's no real real thing. It's just asking. Hang on. Alex Fireheart said, I've heard that previous Abaddon used to use she, her as a wrestler, but they, them in their personal life. But it seems that's changed on TV lately. Okay, thank you. That's all I really
think it has. I think since they debuted, pretty much AEW commentary has very much been on a they, them tangent with her.
Yeah, they, them. And then like, because the only thing that because I was like, okay, they're a they, them. That's cool. But then I can't remember which commentator it was, like called them by their nickname, and then Abaddon. I'm just like, Which one is it? I don't know anymore.
Ree says,
not that it matters, but
Ree brings up a very pertinent point. It's kind of like drag, right? Many use she, her in drag, he, him out of drag, and that's quite correct. It's the same as suplex, the conversation we had about suplex.
Yes. It's more the fact that I just would rather not like misgender them when I was talking about them.
Oh, respect.
And if the nickname is Living Dead Girl, then I would sort of I would be more inclined to accidentally say is all. Just to go.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is going to be like, I don't see her walking away with the title just because of how hot Julia Hart is at the moment. But they've done a hell of a job making it look like she could.
Yes.
They could. See?
It's fine. It's fine.
Anyway, we have no DQ. Sorry, go on.
I see what you're saying. Yes.
Yes.
If anyone was... Anyway, keep going.
No. We have, after that, the no DQ TNT Championship from 2012. Christian Cage against Adam Copeland for the TNT Championship. Jeez. Look, I don't know what to say about this. Like, can you help me out, Jeff? What do you think of this?
Well, the no DQ is so it can be a bunch of bullshit. With a bullshit finish.
100%. So you can have everybody involved. The matriarch, the
everybody.
Nick
everybody.
Wayne.
I mean, the two protagonists are both excellent. Even today, they're both excellent. I have reservations about any time anyone sort of goes into, ultra old men wrestling. I kind of cringe and go, I want them to be safe. I really do. Edge is in his 50s now. So do I think it'll be okay? Yeah. I think Christian's going to win.
I mean, they're in great. Like you're right. They're in great shape. It's going to be good. It's going to be a decent enough match. It's not.
Oh yeah.
It's just. Do you know what the sad thing is? Somebody brought it up to me the other day. Is that Edge has been there for 8 weeks, and it feels like he's been there for a year and a half. Like there's no real specialness about him being there already.
No. The thing is, the night after you debut in AEW, just a person.
Well, because I was thinking about that the other day, especially because I was sort of like in my head, sort of equating to when Edge debuted in Adam Copeland debuted in TNA as to when Punk came back to WWE. When Edge debuted, when Adam Copeland debuted in AEW, straight afterwards, they did a fucking half an hour press conference talking about the whole thing, how everything came about, how everything. So you got all of your answers pretty much in the first 30 minutes after the show. Whereas Punk debuted, and then you didn't hear another fucking word from him until he showed back up on Raw. So there was that build-up of expectation. It's almost like he gets the debut again.
I think the problem was also Tony has the issue is also there's the shine is completely off AEW now, to the point where whenever anyone debuts, people just go, oh yeah, they're there now. Because creatively, AEW, and even trying to follow it through like written word and review websites and stuff like that, it's difficult. It's challenging to follow at the moment, because the guy who, for the most part, books the shows has been doing it for 4 years and is exhausted. The shows are at some points Russo level bad. And I think that unless they tighten that up soon, the reaction is going to even plummet further. to the point where they have to do something shocking. And a big part of that problem is every time Tony having an announcement. Oh, I've got a huge announcement.
Yeah, a lot of times that announcement is used as a crutch. And that's why everyone knows. As soon as there seems to be a dip, I've got a huge announcement. Oh, yeah. Okay then. But yeah, it was to the point of like, it really brought it home to me today because I got home from work earlier today because I'm back at work already, but we're only sort of doing half days just to keep up with like orders. So when we eventually go back to work full time, we're not absolutely slammed. So I got home earlier than what I usually do, and I sat down to watch Dynamite. And my wife was on holiday, so she sat down with me to watch it. She didn't know that Edge had debuted there. She's like, "Oh, is he there now?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "Why?" I'm like, a lot of people asking that question. But it's also the fact that, like I said before, like 5 minutes after he debuted, he was on the press conference talking about exactly what happened, all the stuff that happened, how they filmed the bloody vignette of him entering the building. All of the secrets, all of the specialists had already left the building before the end of that night. So there's no real, because you kind of knew what he was going to do when he came back. You kind of knew there's something with Christian was going to be involved because he attacked Christian. Yeah. So that part was already answered.
Well, there's also the fact that, how can I put this? When WWE have a surprise, most of the workers don't even know he's there. Like when even things like Angle moving to SmackDown, they kept him in a van with a hood on until his music played.
To be fair,
no one knew he was there. They had the hooded figure in Gorilla, and then when no one was around, they took the hood off and out walked Angle. That is the kind of thing that I think, is missing from AEW. It's that surprise. It's that level surprise. They had it, but they're just blowing things so quickly. They're moving through things so quickly. Anyway, Alex has said, no, additionally, I assume the match being a no DQ is a way to protect Edge from having to wrestle for lack of a better term, proper singles match, given it'll probably get a good amount of time. I agree completely, Alex.
See, I don't necessarily agree with that. He can still work. He can still work.
Yeah, but you don't want him doing. You don't want him running through matches on every possible show.
No,
because he is older. Yes, he can still go. So can Christian, but
they're
both
a
step slower.
Oh dear. Anyway, after that we have the finals of the Continental Classic. Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston. This like C2, is what they've been sort of shortening it to, has been really interesting. There've been some really good stuff. There've been some stuff that's been a bit but for the most part, they've done a really good job in being able to like fill a month, 2 months of TV across the 3 shows and make it all coherent and meaning something. And they've built themselves up to a final where coming into the final, you kind of hope that this was what the final was going to be if you looked at it from 1,000-foot distance, but you weren't quite sure. You could have easily seen like I said to you off air, you could have easily seen Jay White and Eddie Kingston in that final. You could easily have seen like Daniel Bryan and Jon Moxley in that final, or Daniel Bryan and Swerve in that final. And like the way they'd done it with the math and all of that stuff. So it didn't work out that one had to be a 3-way and the other one just had to be the 1-on-1. And everything sort of had little stories built into it. Not so much the 3-way, because it's hard to have 3 stories intertwined with each other into a 3-way, but definitely that match with Kingston and Danielson, which was really, really good today, by the way. I'll put that over. It was a really, really good match. But leading into this Continental Classic final with Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston, which they're good mates, so they'll bash the ever-loving shit out of each other. It'll be a really, really good match. And I'm like, I can't see Eddie Kingston not winning this, but then I couldn't see Billy Starks not winning the ROH Women's title, and look where we are.
I think, and by the way, Athena's wrestling amazing matches and is really good.
I'm not arguing that, but that story built to her winning that title.
Yeah,
That final battle.
It did. But we've seen Final Battle before, both in AEW and Ring of Honor, and been disappointed. Let's not kid ourselves. I think it's got to be Eddie. I really do. I think this whole thing has been building to get Mox to push Eddie up another level. Not necessarily to main event, but definitely to a bit more prominence, because he has kind of been on screen, off screen a fair bit until the Continental. I just think it's going to be Eddie.
Yeah. Nick Lear says the Continental has been good. It's been wrestling treated like a sport where wins and losses matter. It's AEW actually being an actual alternative, which is what they said to start. Them actually saying what they were going to do from the start. It's good to see them actually going back to that and doing that, because that's essentially what all of us hoped it was going to be.
Well, it's what the media said. If you remember, they said wins and losses will matter. There'll definitely be an order of people, in a top 10. And they used to go through the top 10. Do you remember those days for the first 2 months? So-and-so's on number 8. So-and-so. I don't mind that. It does give the feeling of a proper sport. And even back in the old days.
They always had that thing where, because they had Dark and Elevation, they could just pad someone's stats to put whoever they wanted in. So I sort of made a joke of that at the end of the day.
Yes, I know, but at least it gave a natural storyline. And in a company that builds up and drops storylines quicker than Tony's dropping a line of wow, hi. So I think that
the thoughts of that are Jeff said he's alone, and not the thoughts of Wrestle Radio Australia. Go on.
Are you pulling a me on me? Anyway,
yes.
This at least has given it, some oomph and some actual, something to go for.
Alex Firehart says, definitely feels like it's been handled better than some TNA's old BFG Series 20. Look, to be fair, the BFG Series 20s went for like 3 months, so it was near on impossible to be able to keep that going. The way that they tried to do that was just, it was ambitious. That's my most polite way of saying it. It was ambitious. But we all hope that. Nicolai also said, because it's a good point, I wanted to bring it up too. Garcia being shouted about his win-loss record made him more important in a few minutes than the association with Jericho or the like made the guy a three-dimensional character. Yes, I have liked Garcia since Red Death, and I near on cried when he was sucked into the Jericho vortex. Unfortunately, it's something that poor Sammy hasn't been able to escape.
Yeah, I think he's on the verge of escaping, though. He really is.
No, I think Garcia has. I think Garcia is not going to be around, like, sucked into that Jericho thing again. I'm hoping that they start treating him a bit more seriously, like pre-Jericho Garcia, because that's where I think he was really good. Red Death Daniel Garcia was really, really good. Even if it means him going to, like, Ring of Honor for a while and like TV champ title or something like that, or do you know what I mean? Some things of that ilk to give him a bit of.
I think, and I know you're not gonna like hearing this, but I think they should do a small program in Ring of Honor of Wheeler against Garcia, because the two of them are great in ring together. So I think that that'd be a really good.
I only don't like it because I feel like it's been done to death. Whereas
we've only seen it a couple of times in AEW where it's been done to death outside of there.
Yeah, it's been done to death in like Ring of Honor, but Ring of Honor, let's face it, is just like it's basically AEW. I think more matches have been seen on AEW of Ring of Honor titles defended than in actual Ring of Honor.
It's because no one watches Ring of Honor. Like, didn't you say there were 12,500 people that ordered it initially?
At last published number by Tony. Said it was 12,500. So 12,500 people actually pay to watch the Ring of Honor TV. So, but I don't know how much that might have bumped up because they did the final battle was on a TV exclusively. So people might have like signed up just to watch Final Battle.
Just to watch Final Battle, yeah.
So who knows? Let's face it, that's what WWE used to do with the network all the time.
Oh
We're gonna put this exclusively on the network. Sign up to that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
I missed the network.
Yes, and then we have our final two matches on the show: the AEW Women's Championship, Toni Storm versus Riho.
Tony is going to win this.
God,
You just don't take the belt off the hottest the hottest wrestler in the company.
I cannot stand Riho. I don't know what it is. I don't find her at all credible as a worker. I just don't. And I know that makes me scream, but I don't find someone that looks like in a really strong breeze could fall over as someone who is credible as a challenger to a title.
Yeah, look, I she's not going to win. She's in there to take bumps for Tony in a last-ditch attempt to make her a heel.
And look, she's like Riho is very over with that AEW crowd.
Oh yeah,
very, very over. She got the Kenny Omega rub and was very, very over because of that. God bless her for it too.
Alex says, to be honest, I'm surprised at this point Riho hasn't just gone back to Japan full time. I forget she's even with AEW half that time. I do too. Alex, I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know if she was injured or she was just not being used. That's why she was out. I have no idea, to be perfectly honest with you.
I don't know what her visa status is as well, so she may have to go back to Japan for a certain period of time every year.
But then also we talk about like that Continental Classic, right? How wins and losses matter.
Mm.
When was the last time you saw Riho work and all of a sudden she's got an AEW Women's title match?
It's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah. And that literally just occurred to me then. I was like, hang on, she's just coming back. So why the hell is she getting a... Anyway. Last but not least, we have the main event, MJF versus Samoa Joe for the AEW World Championship. Does Samoa Joe end MJF's run here, or does the devil come short of helping Samoa Joe win it, or does Hell freeze over and MJF win against all odds again? And
apparently, Cole is legit injured. So whatever is going on, the injury is legit. I think it's Cole. Like, I don't think there's any doubt the devil is Cole. I think Cole is going to interfere and hit Samoa Joe. So MJF loses by disqualification. Cole, the devil, Cole.
Are you really suggesting, and this is, I'm not attacking you at all, that AEW pay-per-view, end of year pay-per-view, main event world title match will end on a disqualification?
Yeah. Yeah.
My son.
It's Tony.
My
mate.
son.
It's Tony.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm like. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I do think that, in all seriousness, I think that MJF wins by not crook disqualification, but accidental punch from the devil, etc., etc. So you can't be sure whether the devil's on his side or not. And then it's watch on Wednesday to find out.
So let's break down what happened today on Dynamite, because the main event of Dynamite. The main event of Dynamite was the Masked Men versus Samoa Joe and MJF for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships. Now the Masked Men hit the ring, and then MJF hits the ring, and then Samoa Joe's music hits, and Samoa doesn't turn up. And there's a camera that goes backstage, and Samoa Joe is there holding his knee like he got attacked. So then in what was a really short match, like I think it was 5 minutes, maybe if that. Another Masked Man slides out from underneath the ring, hits MJF with a steel baton in the shoulder, rolls him back in. One of the masked men hits MJF with his finisher, the heat seeker, that assisted pile driver from the ropes, and then pins him 1, 2, 3 for the ROH World Tag Team Championships. The ROH World Tag Team Championships are held by two guys that no one knows who they are just yet. And then Samoa Joe comes out after because 3 or 4 more guys get in the ring and help start attacking MJF. Samoa Joe limps down to the ring with a chair to run him off. And then as they're standing in the ring, the devil appears up on the screen with the sign saying, "Pleasure doing business with you." And then Samoa Joe hits MJF with a chair and then proceeds to beat the ever-loving shit out of him for a couple of minutes. Therefore, setting up the main event for this weekend, saying that MJF is now very injured going into this match with Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is not the devil, but went into partnership with the devil to get this advantage going into the main event. What do we think about this, Jeff?
There's 1,000 other ways they could have gotten there. And certainly not in the main event position where you've just had, some really good matches on this week. Don't put that in the main event. That's insulting to everybody else. Like, I get you want to close the show with your champion, but that could have been a skit. That could have been an interview. I mean, yeah, you want to also move the titles along. I get it. Do that in the pre-show.
But also the fact that, he has been defending that title sometimes 2-on-1 against credible tag teams and beating them. And now you've had him lose in 5 minutes to 2 guys that are under masks. And I don't care if they could be Red Dragon or the Kingdom under the masks.
I think it's Red Dragon, Cole.
We don't know. But the fact of the matter is that, if you wanted to get the titles off them that badly, why couldn't have you just had them attack during, one of the other guys' matches? Against the Guns or something like that? Because, let's face it, the story doesn't need those belts in the story.
I think that depends on who it is under those masks. Because if it's Red Dragon and they're the ROH Tag Team Champions, that's a really cool way to win. It is. If it's the Kingdom, I'm less sold on that. But, still not a terrible way to win. It's just, it didn't belong in the main event. You do it, but you don't do it in the main event. Because
if anything,
disappointing.
that could have opened the show.
Yeah.
I was thinking about. So that could have opened the show and it probably would have been okay because then we had an hour and a half to get over it.
And you also have a fiery promo from MJF from his hospital bed at the end.
Yeah, Alex Fiat said, honestly, I feel the Guns should have won them. I agree. They still have an opening for a dirty finish with Juice or Jay White interfering in that match. Again, I'm half expecting the Bucks and Hangman is the devil. Oh, my God. Because Hangman got put through a windscreen. So that would be
the whole thing seems poorly thought out. Really, it's picked up again, but it's lugged along for so long, which tells me it's definitely Cole.
Yeah. I'll admit right now I was wrong. I thought the whole Cole injury was a work. I really did.
No, apparently it was for real.
Yeah. Logic, Nicolai says Logic has ever stopped them before. That's a very good
Yeah, that's true. It's actually Hall, Nash, and Hogan in the Big Show.
Anyway, that is this. Be this Sunday for us. Is this Saturday over in America? So this Sunday for us.
Sunday morning.
If you've got the Triller with Fight Plus now, it's called because we needed more words. If you've got AEW Plus membership, I think it's only $24 at the moment. So that's a good bargain for that. I will say though that apparently we got an email for it back in November and I didn't remember. but I got an email this week about it saying that the price of AEW Plus on Triller now has gone up to $13.50, I think it was. So it's from, just double check because, you son of a bee.
Can I do a straw poll, aside from Todd, because you've got AEW Plus, don't you, Todd?
Yes, my friend.
Yeah. Aside from Todd, does anyone in the chat have AEW Plus? Nick wants the devil to be Fred Ottoman. Great.
He fucking fell over.
That's great. Yeah, I used to have AEW Plus as well, Nick. I gave it up about a year ago because the show was just too infuriating.
It's Shadow Alley.
Alley.
It could be. It could very well be.
It could be Future Shock.
It's Mick. Mick's the devil. He's Fight Clubbed himself again.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a fine show. I don't think it's going to be anything amazing. I think it'll just be, that was fine.
Yeah. So anyway, if you've got Fight Plus and you were paying $10.50 before, now you'll be paying $13.99, which is a nice old jump considering you're not getting anything extra or anything new in that thing. So and also you have to pay for the pay-per-views as well on top of that.
Yeah.
So it's very like if I wasn't doing this, I don't know if I'd have it.
I could probably get it as a tax deduction, but I don't bother, honestly.
Yeah.
Because from my perspective, there are a few questions I ask about Dynamite and AEW in general, but people are there to hear about WWE at my show. People are very much there to hear WWE, a little bit of New Japan, a little bit of AEW, and occasionally some Impact stuff.
Nick Galea says, I don't see the value of it, to be honest. I just have the standard fight subscription for Aussie shows at GCW. Yeah, that's fair. I would completely understand that, to be honest with you. Like I said, I think the only reason I really have it is because you can't see Collision on KO. So if you could see Collision on KO, then I might just get rid of it. Yeah, but Collision's the only show that has FTR on it for the most part. So, and FTR is the team I like watching. I like watching that tag team. So it's like it's one of those things that I think I'm going to look at going forward, and I guess we'll see what we do with it. But I think 30% is asking a lot for people.
Oh yeah,
in this climate, with this weather,
on a fucking Wednesday.
Oh no, I've hit a button here and I've lost everything. Sorry, I'll be right back with you.
There are our thoughts. Alex has just said, I hope they make more pay-per-view bundles on Fight next year. I may have to skip World's End because I don't know. Okay. I can't really afford it this time of year, even though it's not super expensive. Agreed. And Nick said, to be honest, even with WWE being great, there's so much content. I agree. If there's something that gets a lot of hype on AEW, I'll track it down, but that's it. Yeah, I'm much the same.
See, that's the thing too with WWE being so accessible. Like if you've got Binge or if you've got KO, you can watch everything from WWE. It's all there, like network as well as like the pay-per-views and for no extra cost. So I mean that's all there. I think they're asking a lot of the international fans to pay like $14 and then this week this thing it's only $24, but for most I think it's like $35 to $40 I think for a pay-per-view.
And
so you're asking for a $55 to $60 investment a month. So $15 a week to watch AEW programming.
Yeah. That's a lot of money.
That's yeah. When you look at it like that, that is a fair amount of money for that. Considering that even back in the day, the WWE network was $10 a month.
Yeah, yeah, and I think it went up to 15. That's the highest it got. 15, 20 here in Australia.
Oh
in
yeah,
Australia.
because of the
exchange rate, but it never rose above that price. So there you go, Todd. What's next?
Well, look, I was going to look for something so we could have a quick break, but my intranet is running a little slow tonight for some reason.
Oh, so
why don't you talk about what you've got coming up with WrestleBrania, my friend?
I'm always happy to do that.
I know. Yes, that's why I thought I'd ask you.
I appreciate it. We are back. We are going to be in Perth on February 24 for reasons. Obviously, it's the day that WWE are over there doing Elimination Chamber. So we wanted to get there. And so we decided we're going to do a WrestleBrania over there. It's on at 2:30 at Linnet's Lounge, which is in Northbridge. It's just a train ride away from the venue, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I've already firmed up some incredible guests from Perth, and I look forward to announcing them soonish. So we're doing that, and then once again we'll be at the Catfish for Comedy Festival, which is always a fun time. If you're going to be in Melbourne through April or in Perth on Feb 24, follow our socials for all the information. And for the Perth show, go to OzTix to get tickets now. That's right, they're on sale now. What a perfect post-Christmas present.
That's very nice, mate. You're very... So let's see.
There you go.
Why don't you show me how long these things go for? Sorry, I'm desperately searching for something. Here we go. That's what we can watch.
Nick's reaction to my show plug. Catfish is good food. Thanks, Nick.
Is it actual catfish is good food, are you saying, or the catfish?
The Catfish says very good food. Lovely cheese steaks.
Ooh. You had me at cheese. You kept me at steaks.
Cheese Philly steak.
Oh, there we go. Reed literally says cheese Philly steak. There you go. Let's see if I can do this right or not.
And they've got a great selection of chili sauces as well. Their hot sauces are very nice.
Oh, that's always good. Why won't you work for me, you mongrel? Oh, shit. It's all falling apart right now. So I'm sorry about this, guys.
This won't be in the show, I don't think.
It probably will because I'm too lazy to edit it out.
It's hilarious.
Oh, shit. Here we go. This was posted a couple of days ago. It's from Wrestle Rampage. It's called Wrestle Rampage Christmas. So we'll play that. It goes for about 5.5 minutes, and then we'll be back with more Wrestle Radio Australia. Right.
Catch you soon, friends.
When I actually work out how to do this damn thing. There we go. What just happened? Oh, terrible this. So this is what happens when I have to talk and do computer stuff.
Back soon.
Oh, goodness gracious. You caught me wetting my whistle. Anyway, come in, everybody. Come in, come in. It's that wonderful time of year where we gather around the Christmas table and we eat the same old food, we sing the same old songs, and we even share a familiar tale or two. But this year, we have something very special for you. Something I think we can all enjoy. On an eve in December, by the Christmas tree lights, a young girl was saddened, all alone in the night.
They ruined my game. They took all my toys.
The girl murmured in a devilish voice.
There's no one to play with. No presents, no fun.
She sat by the tree and began to look glum.
There's no need to be sad.
Said a voice with such cheer.
There's so much good food around this time of year. You don't need toys to feel good inside. Not with roast, taters, pavlova and pies.
She flipped the whole pie upside down on the ground and watched the man's smile sink into a frown. Then she struck just one match, and with a flick of her wrist, this whole Christmas feast was burned to a crisp. She watched as he wept for the unconsumed food. And this it seemed to brighten her mood. She wandered and pondered out into the night, until there appeared a bright, warming light.
Come closer, sweet child,
Said a voice from the glow. Then descended an angel in a silken white robe.
Christmas
He said,
is a beautiful time. Let's put on your best gown and to shimmer and shine. Decorations and costumes and smiles abound. 'Tis the season to shimmer. Turn that frown upside down.
Such a shame.
said the girl,
Was a pretty dress.
and bequeathed its undoing with one quick, foul breath. She slunk back to her tree, still heavy of heart, until a familiar voice came out of the dark.
Christmas isn't about beauty or food, or presents or toys.
The wise man argued.
It's the rare time of year where we gather as one, sharing laughter and kinship with those who we love.
He extended his arms for a warming embrace, as a smile emerged from her expressionless face.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? What are you doing with that?
As she sat by her tree, lights twinkling bright, she was pleased that she'd had such a mischievous night. There was still fun to be had without any toys. And that's the moral I want to convey, girls and boys. That's the end of this tale, though it doesn't end right. So Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Well, there you go. That was
That was very
nice.
good. That was very, very good. Well produced.
Rampage having a ball at Christmas, obviously.
Yes, and also too, like get along to the Wrestle Rampage YouTube channel because they've got Welcome to Wrestle Rampage on there as well from November, their last show of the year. It's a really, really good show. So do get along to it and check it out.
I shall do.
And also, yeah, like I said, the production quality in that was beautiful. For nothing, they weren't promoting a show. They just did that to do that, which is cool.
You kind of forget how good wrestling generally looks in this country. Like, yeah, there's production snafus everywhere, but considering people aren't operating with high cameras and, you know, multiple shot options and things like that, it's all done in the edit suite. And I think it's a credit to the people that put the stuff together. They generally do a really good job.
I'm terrified for this. Ree says, I have a question for you, Todd. Lol. See, the lol is what terrifies me. The lol's what terrifies me. What would you like to know, Ray? Just once, but I needed the money. Now I'm just hanging on, waiting for it.
I'm just wondering, how do you respond?
You mother trucker. How do you respond to criticism that you are selective in what you don't address in regards to wrestlers and allegations of that surface? It's a very good question. And how do I answer this? How do I respond? Considering, because I know what you're talking about, and I know the sources that were talking about it, I really could give two shits what those two people think. Because one of them spent 90 minutes going on to me during a Coliseum review show talking about the draw of the crowd, when I knew for a fact what the draw of the crowd was because of capacity issues with like COVID sort of things, but had to get their point across because they don't like PWA, which is fine. Like, you can not like something and that's cool. But yeah, how do I respond to criticism from selecting what you do? Because it's they shut up, Ray. They objected to you saying a certain wrestler was main event material. Now, thank you for bringing this up, Ray, because you know I was vociferous in this. And I want to preface this by saying I like Big Fudge. I think he's a great guy. One of the nicest human beings you'll ever meet. I have never said that he is a main event. I've never said that. So I don't know where this person was getting that from. It just tells, see, Jeff, the look on Jeff's face tells you exactly that I'm telling the truth right now. I've never said that. In fact, I think I said that he shouldn't have really been a part of the whole Ricky South. That should have been something post-match, if anything, with the Jess Troy thing. So there, that's
I remember
that.
you saying that.
Yes. And to answer the other question, because I know exactly what you're talking about. You're talking about the whole thing with
the events of last weekend.
Thank you. The events of last weekend. I will only say that this is it's a legal matter, which makes it very hard to comment on and maybe not get yourself into trouble. Whereas it comes to like saying something that's possibly not true or saying something that's, and I'm not saying that what happened. I will say this: I cannot condone at all anything that happened at all. In fact, I'm very much against that. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that this person has to live an actual life that doesn't involve like a ring bell. Whereas when we've spoken out before about Deathmatch Down Under, all this sort of stuff, it was always just involving the business. Never about the person's personal life. I think you'll agree with that, Jeff.
For the most part, yes. I mean, because I've only been here for 15 months, It's hard for me to...
Yes.
So for the most part, to my experience, yes.
Yes, because a personal life is a personal life. And what people go through on that side of their life has really nothing to do with, unless they're doing harm to others. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yes, I do not condone at all anything that happened. I think it's reckless. I think it was terrible. I hope that the person is getting the help that they need, and that everything happens comes out well for all parties involved. I will say that it's in the hands of the courts to decide exactly what the punishment is, and that's where we'll go from there. I don't see any point in us stacking on.
You remember my reaction?
Yes.
Yeah,
and what my reaction was as well.
Yeah, look, I think it's appalling, and I hope that the person gets help if they feel they need help. And I just hope that person is okay. That's all.
Yes.
My concerns with the person.
Nick is exactly right. Nick says, I'm not going to bury the guy. If the report is true, I hope he gets help. I'm just very mindful it was very lucky. No, you were 100% correct. It was very, very lucky that no one's concerned. And it is beyond wrestling. That's
well beyond wrestling.
There are a lot of people out there right now sharpening their knives and going after someone because it's an easy time to do it.
Mm.
And a lot of them through different manners, through memes, through fucking ways of. I saw a promotion put up the story under the guise of, I hope this person gets the help they need, where it really wasn't that. It was just them saying, look what this guy from this other company did. So and that's the thing. And honestly, for those it's I love Ree, but I don't know how many people are in that forum. And to me, all I could see was two people talking about it. And those two people obviously don't like PWA, and that's fine. You can not like PWA. There are a lot of things about that company in the way that they book their shows, in some of the talents how they use some of their talents I do not like. And I've been very upfront with that as well. And Jeff, you know that. I believe I went on a good old a Todd rant about what they did with back pain.
Mm. Oh no, we're not apologists for anyone. If we don't like content, we call it out.
Yeah. Yes. And to be perfectly upfront, yes, I have worked a PWA show. I worked a PWA show that was up here in Queensland. 100% does not stop me from criticizing the product. Hell, I'm from Riot City Wrestling. I criticize Riot City Wrestling.
Yes.
Rocky Monero is one of my really, really good friends. We talk all the time. I'll criticize MCW. I have no problem with doing it because I'm doing it for the fact that I just want everything to be better. And I'm upfront with that, 100% upfront with that. I was upfront with that when I talked to, because when we first started doing these things, to pull the curtain back, I messaged all the bookers from these different territories just to let them know what we were doing and to say there's just to be upfront, there is no malice here with this. We're just reviewing the shows they were doing in the States. We're just trying to do that for the Australian market. And not one of those promoters or bookers or anything like that, to their credit, have complained about anything we've said or told us to not do it.
No.
All of them have said that's fine. The worst I got was probably from Bonza, who said, that's fine, I'm just not going to listen when you do our shows. Which is fair enough. I probably wouldn't like somebody doing it. But it is what it is. But I will not stand by and have people say that I show favoritism towards the show, because I just don't. Because what I like, I like. And what I don't like.
As Ree said here, which is the beautiful thing about wrestling, we can like or not like all of the above. We don't have to like everything. Back in the day when I reviewed shows, Ree got death threats and a threat to, quote unquote, punch her in the face. Ree, anyway, Todd, it's my favorite time of the night. Are you ready?
What are we doing, mate? Oh,
thank you for coming back to Wrestle Radio Australia with Todd and Jeff on this Thursday night. We're having a lot of fun.
Somewhere a shiver went up Lachlan's spine.
Yeah, I know. We've got a bit silly, I think. If you haven't heard the first half, we were talking about AEW Worlds End. Now we're going to talk about Wrestle Kingdom 18. Wow. Wrestle Kingdom 18, which is going to be a great show because they always are. They always pull out something really special for Wrestle Kingdom. To be honest, I'm a little bit disappointed, Todd, that they haven't put certain wrestlers on the show. But I still think it's going to be a good one.
But I'd say they'll be in the Rambo, wouldn't they?
Yeah, probably, or on New Year's Dash the night following, as I mentioned.
Do you because I drove the bus somewhat for the AEW part, mate? Do you want to drive the bus here for New Japan?
That's what I was thinking.
Sweet.
That's what I was thinking.
Look at that.
So it opens up with the New Japan Rambo. The nice thing about the Rambo is anyone can win. Like, literally, there's no point in trying to go, I think it's going to be so-and-so. Could be anyone. The next match...
I'm sorry, I'm just getting messages about stuff.
The next match is Yota Tsuji versus Yuya Umura. I'm sorry, that's a really difficult name to say there. Look, I think Tsuji's going to win that. It'll be a nice match, but I think Yota Tsuji's definitely above that level.
Sorry, I apologize. Yeah, that's. I'll be honest with you. I haven't followed New Japan a hell of a lot over the last year.
Hence the reason I'm driving the bus. All right.
One of the reasons, and the other reason is I'm not very good at pronouncing Japanese. This is why Lachlan drives that bus.
Lachlan does it. Then we've got Umino and Kiyomiya against Narita and Evil. Look, this is one of those horrible occasions where I really don't care. Just because the House of Torture has been a complete balls up from the beginning. But I think it'll still be an interesting and well-wrestled match. After that, any thoughts? If you've got thoughts on any of these, stop me.
I'll just jump in. House of Torture has been the whole thing that they've done with the whole splitting up of Bullet Club has been shit, to be honest with you. It's just I understand that they had to make different, but they've made too many factions now, I think. Because they're not ever and you could correct me if I'm wrong here, we don't ever see all of these groups together, do we?
Very rarely.
So they never all just come out as Bullet Club, and then there's little factions.
No, we don't get promos from the entire faction anymore. No.
So is there, and because you can tell me as well, is there any part of these actually just called Bullet Club anymore?
No.
So basically, the Bullet Club thing is dead.
Yep.
Alex might be able to. Still waiting for House of Torture to officially break off from Bullet Club and be its own thing. Well, I think most of them. What's Finlay's group called?
Is it World Elite? I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
That's the thing.
I didn't watch Tag League this year.
I think the only person with anywhere near a claim to actually keep the Bullet Club name is probably Farley, because he's been the one that's been where they're the longest, and he's got the Rogue
Army.
Rogue Army, thank you. So I don't know. It's just the whole thing, and I hate the fact that Ren Narita's there.
War Dogs.
War Dogs. Thank you, Alex.
War Dogs. Thank you, Alex Fireheart.
But
Look, I'm not. Yeah, it's all a bit disappointing, really.
The thing is,
again,
in 5 years that you're going to see Shota Umino and Ren Narita and Kaito Kiyomiya probably at the pointy end of these cards. So maybe giving him a rub with Evil right now is probably the right thing to do. Just give him a little bit of a brush with someone in that upper thing. Just
it's also consistent. It's also consistent with Shibata, because Shibata very much started as a heel. So it's, he's really kicking off his career. He's a heel. From there, we go to the IWGP. Oh, sorry. From there, we go to the Never Openweight match. It's Shingo Takagi against Tama Tonga in your big meaty men slapping meat match.
I'm a fan of both of these workers. Like I've always loved Tama Tonga. Always loved Tama Tonga. I kind of wanted him to go to WWE just to see what they would do with him back when they had that whole contract thing. Because I think back when they were with when he was with his brother with Gorillas of Destiny, I was just, I don't know why, I just really wanted to see them against the Usos.
That would have been fun. I
really wanted to see, especially when I think, because that was about the time that the Usos and Roman were sort of like at odds. And to have, say, Roman bring in these two and go, I don't need you boys anymore. I've got other family.
I think
that would have been really good.
I think this will be good. Ree doesn't like Tama Tonga at all, as you've noticed from her yelling comments with Tama Bay.
She said ugly. I think that's what that means.
And Alex Firehearts said, honestly, Gabriel Kidd and Alex Coughlin have been a breath of fresh air for Bullet Club in my eyes. I agree, Alex. Keep War Dogs as Bullet Club. Kick everyone else out of Bullet Club for a fresh start. Yes, absolutely.
I think you just let Bullet Club go. Just Bullet Club gone completely. Just keep the names of whatever their little factions are, but just leave Bullet Club out of it. Leave Bullet Club Gold to be Bullet Club Gold.
They can't until they have Brian Clark in Bullet Club Wolfpack. I'll move on. After that one, we've got the IWGP Tag Team and NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Double Championships. I think they're amalgamating the belts, which isn't a bad move. Goto and Yoshihashi against El Phantasmo and Hikuleo. Speaking of brothers, yes. I think we're going to see new champions. Actually,
I hope so because I cannot stand Goto and Hashi. I cannot stand.
Well, they've held the
and that's
belts.
Probably because I'm still mad about them in Aussie Open. I'm still mad about that. Probably more than anything else. But I just can't stand them. I can't stand them. And I like El Phantasmo, and I think Hikulea's got an amazing amount of upside. Hikulea to me is what Scott Hall's son would have been if he actually applied himself.
Yeah, if Cody Hall had applied himself.
If Cody Hall, because Cody Hall had a ton of potential.
Oh God, yeah. But I think he was in Noah for a cup of coffee as well.
Yeah, that would
anyway.
Yes.
I think we're going to see new tag champs in that one. Thankfully, the Hiromu Takahashi IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match featuring Hiromu Takahashi and his victim for this year is El Desperado.
How dare you say that about Despy? How dare you?
I like Despy. Despy's great.
Look, it's going to be a great match because they're two amazing.
It's going to be a fantastic match. Hiromu doesn't have bad matches at Kingdom, but I don't think this is going to be a challenge for him, really.
Sorry, Alex Farhart says Bishamon feel like placeholders tag champs until they find someone else for a long-term reign. Yeah, but like the problem is that they keep using them for that spot. Like just keep putting them back in there, and I don't see anything. I don't know how to equate it to like a Western tag team or a Western, like two Western wrestlers that I could say that it's what an equivalent to. Like, can you think of something like that? It would be an equivalent to, say, making the New Age Outlaws the World Tag Champions like tomorrow and keeping them there for like 6 months.
It
makes no real makes no real, especially when you got such a strong, and I use that word not meaning the New Japan strong, but you got like such a strong roster of people that could be good tag team champions, and you're using those two guys. So,
and as with AEW and WWE, it's a really overblown roster. There's too many people in the New Japan roster as well. After that, we have the global championship match which is the US and UK titles. William Ospreay against John Moxley against David Finn.
William Ospreay.
William Ospreay, little William. I think this will be great. And really, it could go to any of those three, and you'd go, yeah, good call, good decision. Personally, I'd like to see Finlay win it.
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting because, Ospreay signed with AEW.
Yes.
Like, John Moxley signed is AEW. Finlay's the only one who's still signed to New Japan.
Mm.
But here's the problem I have with it, right? Because if you give it to Ospreay or Moxley, they're not going to be the full-time champions, if you know what I mean. They're not going to be on every show doing what a normal champion would do to defend it, because they'll be over in America doing their thing, or England, or wherever Ospreay hangs his hat. With Finlay, at least he will defend it on New Japan Strong. He can defend it in New Japan. You're never going to have to worry about a date clash. You're never going to have to worry about Tony Khan pulling you at the last minute going, I need him for this card. You're never going to have to worry about that with Finlay. This being said, if Finlay can get a win over Moxley and Ospreay, that's a career maker for him.
And I think now he's in a spot where he's become an infinitely better wrestler since he's turned heel. It's a marked difference because the personality change suits him so much more. He was mediocre as a big man babyface at best, but they stuck with him and it's worked, and I'm so happy it has. But I think he's going to win. I think he's going to take it.
Yeah, I kind of hope he does, because I'm kind of sick of seeing other promotions being in charge of New Japan titles.
Mm.
I know they obviously got permission from New Japan to do it, but having that New Japan Strong Championship involved in the Continental Classic to make a Triple Crown really does take everything, takes all power that New Japan could have over that title away from them. Because another problem I have with it too is that Continental Classic had no New Japan wrestlers in it. And it was a tournament that, at the end of the day, one of their titles was involved in.
Yeah.
So for that sake, I hope Finlay wins it. And I think it's something that will push him to the next level, much like Alex Fahart says.
Yeah, I think it's been designed to push him that way. The next match it's your pee break match. It's only Bryan Danielson against Kazuchika Okada. I think this is going to be excellent. I think they're going to boo the hell out of Danielson, who's going to love that. And I think that Okada's going to win this one in Japan.
Will he still have the eye patch on?
Yeah, he's going to. He's going to just
off?
Yeah, just the visual thing. I also saw in the Christmas photos, but the Christmas photos in America are often taken in November, but he was wearing a full eye patch in those Christmas photos.
Oh, okay.
In his family's Christmas photos. So whether he still needs it or not, it looks cool as hell. And he and Okada are just going to beat the fuck out of each other for half an hour, 45 minutes. And I'll sit there at the end and go, yes, more of this, please. Yeah.
No way it's not going to be good.
It's going to be brilliant.
So, I'm glad he's finally going to get this match. I know he's had the match, but in the proper context.
In Wrestle Kingdom, he's getting it. He's going to put his hand. He's going to be by the ropes, and the refs. He's going to put his hand on the rope, and the ref's going to count him, and he's going to say, "I have till 5." And I am going to be so happy to hear it again.
What's Japanese for 5? Because that's what I'd be saying.
Ichi-ni-san.
Chi. I'm sorry, all I know is chi.
Yeah, I'm the same. Ichi-ni-san. I can't remember, but
I don't
that's
know.
going to be fantastic. I do think Okada's going to win and make it 1-1, and there'll be a rubber match at some point down the road.
Probably Forbidden Door.
Yeah, probably. And then the main event, the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match from just 5 guys. Sonata up against Los Ingobernables de Japón leader Tetsuya Naito. Oh, you're impressed with my...
Mate, loved it. Loved it. For
great.
someone who tried to learn Spanish, loved it.
Thank you. Oh, you got Duolingo out one day.
Yeah. Manzana. Lo siento.
Look, I think this is there, in my opinion, to make Sonata. I think Sonata's going to keep the belt.
I always say, like, when Sonata wears a suit, he just looks like young Inoki.
He looks so handsome, doesn't he?
He's just young Inoki. When I see that, I'm like, wow, no wonder they put into...
Very handsome man. He was, in my opinion, he was always going to be in this position. Since I first saw him, I thought, there's a guy.
I'm going to disagree with you, because when I first saw him, it was in TNA, and I was like, this dude is the shits.
Wasn't as bad as what did they make Okada? The Green Hornets.
He was Kato. Which I'm really hoping they try and make him do that again when he goes to TNA for Hard to Kill. Oh, geez. But no, it'll be like... I hope Sonata... Sorry, Alex Fireheart says, I hope Sonata keeps it, but honestly, I won't be disappointed with either outcome. Yeah, look, I've always got a soft spot for Naito. I love the dude. He was always like... I always liked him over Okada. I don't know why. I think it's because everyone loved Okada, so I'm like, fuck, I'm not going to love what everyone else loves. I'm going to go for... It's the reason why I'm a Red Sox fan, because everyone loves the Yankees. So I went for the Red Sox.
I think that the thing with Naito is he doesn't need the belt. He is that over. And they recognize that. And he's going to make whoever beats him. So they want him to make Sonata. I'm almost positive of it. But New Japan have kind of messed with me before at Wrestle Kingdom. So, you know, I think it'll be Sonata, but I really won't be upset if it's Naito. But I just, I don't want him to have any more matches where he just almost kills himself.
The problem is that I think Sonato's title reign has been like subpar at best.
I don't think it has been, but they've given him no one big until now. And I think that what happened, this is our first Tanahashi kingdom, by the way. So it is of note that Tanahashi is going to be sort of behind some of the creative aspects of it.
But isn't this like the test of a good champion is to be able to take anyone and make a good match out of it? Like I literally have not really heard, like after a New Japan show, somebody go, that Sonata match was really fucking good.
He's had good matches. There's no doubt he's had good matches. I don't know how much you've watched of it.
No, I'm just asking you, if you were to point to a match for me to watch to say Sonata is really good, what match would that be?
Oh God, I'd have to look it up. And I'm sorry, but I would more so.
No, that's fine. Like that's why I'm asking. I'm asking. Like if we would say that with like Okada, you could say like a few names. Or Naito, you could say a few names. But
yeah, I can't recollect one straight away. He had some really good matches through the G1, but that is almost removed.
Yeah, Alex Fireheart, because Alex Fireheart seems to keep up with New Japan by the look of the chat. If we would ask you, if I was to ask you, Alex, what Sonata match should I watch to have me go, that's the New Japan champion, that's a really good worker, what match would you say I should watch? Because I'm just it's not a theory, it's just a thing that I like normally you could point to a match with like any wrestler, go, watch this match, they're really freaking good. Do you know what I mean?
Well, AJ, believe it or not, is Shinsuke. I think someone always has a magic opponent, and there's always someone who you go, wow, that person is really good with that person specifically. There
Alex
are.
Fihart. Sorry, Alex Fihart said Sonata versus Taichi. Is it Taichi? Is that how you pronounce it?
Taichi. Yeah.
Taichi from New Japan Cup this year was one of my favorites of the whole tournament. All right, I will try and search it out.
It's a good match. It's a good match. Sonata's a really, really good wrestler, and I think that the way, Tsuji against Sonata was so good. It's so good.
Okay.
Yeah, I do remember enjoying that. Thank you for triggering that, Alex. I think that the way that New Japan is structured is you beat, even when you're champion, you kind of beat schmoes and then you build up and kind of move up the ladder in challenges. So I would think that this match is to see how Sonata goes against the big boys, like the real sort of top level competition. And if he doesn't stack up, then within a couple of months, you'll see the belt move on to Naito or someone else. But I think this is to start to see his real ascendancy into main eventer.
Yeah. Okay. So that's January 4th?
Yeah, that's next Thursday night, which is why
Yes.
we won't be doing a show next Thursday because
So we might keep your eyes glued because we might do something earlier for the awards night.
we'll try and do the awards.
We'll see what's going on with young Auckland.
Yeah, well, once Lachlan gets power back. And
Yes.
Tim's rightly said, Sonata gets overshadowed by other marquee matches a lot. He does.
Which
I
is
think
fun.
that,
How does somebody break through in New Japan when you've got like stalwarts like Okada and say even nowadays fucking like Ospreay, Naito,
Hiromu.
Shingo Takagi even like
If you're a light heavyweight and Hiromu's there, then he's so good. He's so good that you've almost got no chance of getting your hands on the belt and proving how good you are because he is so damn good. I think that to actually break through, it's just talent. Look at Yota Tsuji. So good. So entertaining. It's just got the it factor. The last person I saw with that much it factor was another LIJ guy, and that was Shingo. So, they know how to pick him in LIJ. I'm just looking forward to Kingdom overall. I think it's going to be a really good show. It always is.
Yeah, I'm a massive fan of Shingo. I'm surprised that his title reign didn't go for a bit longer either, because he's one of those guys that when I think of a champion, I think of someone like him because I can see him going and working with everybody and pulling good matches out of them.
Well,
doesn't matter who they are, doesn't matter what you're going to get a good match out of them.
I think that the reason they're taking the belt off him is because they're going to reheat him back up towards World. Because they realize now Tanahashi's pretty much done. He is not on this show, is he? No. But
he has just in some sort of news, because you did talk about it before. He is the new president of New Japan, but he has said that he will continue to wrestle.
Yeah, but
he will be wrestling, but just not on. Maybe he'll be in the Rambo. Who knows? But he is not wrestling as of yet on the card. And they don't add matches at last minute, so
not really. He's going to be used really sparingly.
Jeff, sorry, are you there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm here. Can you hear me? This is riveting podcasting, folks.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, we haven't technical. Yeah, I can hear you. We're having a little technical.
I think
straight internet.
We're back.
Tanahashi wrestling. Yes.
Yeah, I think that Tanahashi is minimizing his time. Okada's contract is up really soon, but I still think he's going to stay with NJPW, maybe with an AEW agreement tied to it. But I think that all of that guard are getting older, much older.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see more.
I think if you remember when we talked about Forbidden Door, I was pretty critical on Tanahashi in that. Just saying, look, he looked terrible. He looked very slow. He's probably getting out at the right time. One thing I didn't know until I listened to it, because I listened to, like, there's a four-day-a-week podcast called Rumor and Innuendo with Nick Hausman and Robert Karpelis, who are, like, Nick Hausman's a reporter and Robert Karpelis used to be a WWE creative writer. And they go through all the stories of the day in wrestling. Did you know that Tanahashi's a lawyer?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Like, the dude wrestled for what? He's wrestled for like 20 years and also a lawyer. How do you get time to do that?
I don't know. That's why I think that's why he's a good choice as president, to be honest.
Oh, he's a great choice as president when it's like definitely not a figurehead role.
No. And he's not, like you've noticed from his own touring schedule, he's not against people going out and getting chops elsewhere. So I think that's really, really good. I think we're starting to see a changing of the guard, and that's why the belt should stay with Sonata. Alex has said, still waiting to see if Tsuji will turn on Naito and usurp control of LIJ. Part of me keeps feeling that's going to happen. I would agree with you. They've not delved into it too much, but there has been little visual cues. But I think that, Naito's not going to stop wrestling completely. By no means, please don't think I'm saying that. But I think that his body, he can't keep doing what he's doing. His body is only human, and he wrestles at such a breakneck style. So he's been lucky.
We're also in New Japan news. Will Ospreay has challenged Kazuchika Okada for New Japan and NJPW Battle in the Valley if he wins the global title. So maybe it's a foreshadowing.
Maybe.
So who knows about that? Also in news from Japan, I'm trying to find the story so I can be completely accurate with it. But the NXT with
NXT have signed a deal with All Japan Pro Wrestling, which I think is a great idea.
Yes, yeah, and a year. I think you're funny. It was like something like a year to the day that William Regal left All Elite. He filmed a promo for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just trying to. Yes, here we go. I'm just getting the story so I didn't get it wrong. Yes, William Regal, or actually called himself Lord Steven Regal in the promo.
Yes.
For All Japan, announced that the NXT person going over to All Japan is his son, and actually said for the first time on video that it's his son Charlie Dempsey going over there. So,
and I mean, look,
Charlie
Apple
Dempsey
doesn't fall far from the tree in looks with Charlie Dempsey. He really does look like
no, not at all. They look hell of a lot.
So yeah,
where we go? Yes, so it's Charlie Dempsey against either Nakajima or Miyahara, depending on who wins that match at the New Year Giant Series. So we'll find out. We'll find out what's going on. If anything, I think that they probably picked the best candidate. If you weren't going to send someone like Drew Gulak, who, let's face it, Drew won't really get much from that, except for like going over to wrestle in All Japan and wrestling like All Japan Triple Crown. He won't really get much out of it. Whereas Charlie Dempsey will get more out of that just being there.
I think it's also,
correct me if I'm wrong, of course.
Dempsey's close, but doing stuff in Japan will really season him. Will really give him a good grounding. Alex has corrected you there. Actually, he's actually teaming with Tatsumi Fujinami and his son on the 31st. That's excellent for him.
Who is? Oh, he is
Regal.
But he's facing the.
He's
Regal
against. Dempsey is sorry. Dempsey's teaming against Tatsumi.
But he's
Fujinami
also having a shot at the title. Yeah.
He could be doing a tour.
Oh, well, of course.
And that could be the first match.
Yes. Oh, also, Scotty 2 Hotty was on AEW pre-show. today.
Yeah, which is kind of nice.
That was cool.
Good on
So I'm just running through
Taylor.
Just stories quickly before we, and also Gunther and his wife. I didn't realize that I probably should have remembered, but he was married to Ginny. So they just gave birth to their first son.
Gunther.
Gunther, yeah.
Yes.
So congratulations to Gunther.
Yeah, who I did meet him at a WSW event many years ago, and he was a lovely man. Some guy was paying wrestlers $100 to chop him, and he said to Volta, he said, "If I give you $100, will you chop me?" And Volta just rose up his hand and he said, "No, I will kill you." Which you kind of believe.
Yes.
All
right.
Okay, so
let's.
Alex, just to finish this, Dempsey is facing those two on the 31st, then having a title match afterwards, which is what we speculated.
So that, yeah,
right. You were saying, Todd. I apologize.
No, you're perfectly right. Well in your role to say, I don't know what I'm talking about right now. It's getting late. Because it's getting late, mate. Let's wrap the show up. Let's by doing what we do here: chicken shit, chicken salad. We'll start off with the shit, mate. What is your shit? What's your shit?
My chicken shit. Oh, it's a really good question. And yeah, my chicken shit is that positioning of the main event that we were discussing earlier. Putting it earlier in the match, making it an interview segment, a skit, anything else. But it's really disrespectful to everyone working that show, and also kind of demeans the storyline in a weird way. Because people could think, as I thought, they're going to go with the DQ. They could go with the screwy ending on a pay-per-view. To say that it hasn't happened so far doesn't mean it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's fair. He just leans, like Tony leans very heavily into not doing DQs, not doing countouts.
Oh, yeah, so he does. He does, and that I will credit.
Yeah. Okay, my chicken shit is, and this is what I'm begging, right? For AEW diehard fans, right? Stop. Just for the love of God, stop talking about Brawl Out. Just stop talking about it. Get over it. Move past it. It has been over a year now. Almost a year and a half since that fucking thing happened. Yes.
Todd, I hate to be the voice of reason in this, but it's only been in the last 3 years that people have shut the fuck up about the Montreal screw job.
Yeah, but that's, you know what?
We're going to hear about it for years, mate.
Yeah. Do you know what sort of triggered me on this? Is that I got pointed to an article written by a guy called Jesse Collins. I don't know if you heard about him. He's on WrestleNomics every now and then with Brandon Thurston. Brandon Thurston I love. Every time I see that Jesse is on that show, I don't listen to it because A, he sounds like a human muppet, and B, his opinions make me feel like he might be a human muppet.
Yeah.
He wrote a column basically blaming CM Punk for ruining the allure of what AEW is, ruining AEW fans' innocence about what AEW could be. It's not the fans. It's not AEW. It's not CM Punk. It's the fans. I'm sorry. It just is. And in some cases, it's the fucking roster themselves that can't get over it. Like I wrote an article this week that I think it'll be up this weekend on PW Down Under. And it was because, you know how Tony came out at the press conference and talked about like being part of AEW is being under constant attack. Now, I wrote an article saying, like, are they being under constant attack or are they self-sabotaging? Because I've got a feeling.
I was going to say, do you want my opinion or?
yeah, please do.
A little from column A and a little from column B.
Yeah.
They are
I think they're under constant attack, but I think the call's coming from inside the house.
I think the problem with AEW, there's in my opinion, there's two problems. One is everyone has a voice in social media, and everyone in AEW uses it in the worst way possible. They need someone to come in and go, this is what communications is, this is what smart communications is, and this is what shutting the fuck up for a bit is. Part of the reason you still hear Brawl Out is because, everyone will tweet about it or X about it or Facebook about it or Instagram about it. That is to AEW's detriment more than WWE, right? I think we can agree on that, because if you talk out of turn in WWE in something that's not 100% scheduled, people used to, and even then they were very sanitary. They don't anymore. Like the WWE machine has gotten a hold of that really, really tightly. The other thing with AEW and the other problem with AEW is that the booker, as I was saying earlier, is exhausted. He's got nothing left. There's just nothing. Like, Tony, please pass it on. Give it to 4 or 5 guys, and they will be phenomenal. They will just shock you at how good the show could be with the roster you've got. Because I think that those two things combined together are a powder keg.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, because like the basis of my article or my opinion piece is that it always seems to be the week of a show that somebody from that roster or multiple people from that roster do or say something to either bring back an argument from 6 months ago or a year ago, as in Brawl Out, from this constant thing, or they do something else that's sort of dumb to get some calling. So while Tony is trying to sell this show to people, he has to answer these questions. Like, for instance, and I'm not like, we talked about the Jericho thing before, so we'll put that aside. But you know that when they do the press call this week, someone's going to ask Tony about the Jericho thing. They just will, because that's what a journalist, they kind of have to do. They kind of have to ask him about this. Also, there's been a few people from the front of house, like in the head office sort of thing, that are leaving. Like QT, because he wants to actually be a wrestler on his own to make a name for himself. Good luck to him for doing it. There was another guy, I cannot remember his name, but he's in charge of live events and booking that. So he got a job at the Barclays Center. So he's leaving to work for Barclays, which is a great job. Nothing wrong with it. Also, I think it was like Kevin Sullivan, not the wrestler, but the production guy, he left that as well. And then this week it came out that Dana Massey is leaving her role as head of merchandising and sales and that sort of thing. Like, and it's like she was offered a contract and decided she didn't want to re-sign, which is fair enough. Like, if she's been there for 4 years, it's sort of like, it's probably a very taxing job. And Matt, like, to their credit, Matt and Dana have not said anything about AEW publicly. All that Matt has said is like how much he loves her and how much like he's like very proud of her for going through everything that she's been through, and how much of a thankless job that sort of job is, which I can imagine it really is. All well and good until you hit Wrestling Observer Radio, where Dave Meltzer goes on and says the real reason she's leaving is because AEW didn't back up the Jacksons and Hangman and Omega over Punk. And that's why she's leaving. That was apropos of nothing. Like, they could have just left it and it would have been fine. They would have been leading into World's End. So now, on two fronts, Tony has to put out two different fires, all about the same incident that happened over a year ago, where the other person involved in that just sold out Madison Square Garden and has not mentioned those 3 letters since he left.
Okay. There's a lot there, and staff leave. It happens. Yes. I think what you've just said is a mouthful insofar as this will not end, especially while someone like Meltzer's around. While any of those, and we prey on it as well, let's be honest, but with any of those kinds of places, including podcasts and the brilliant podcasts like Wrestle Radio Australia, it's always going to be a combustible element where if people are going to talk about it and get ratings, and as Tim has said, being uninformed once again, looking for attention.
Here's the thing, like Tim, is that I don't think he is uninformed. I think he gets informed. He is their way of doing it.
I think also that AEW love it. Like, Tony loves it. Tony buys into the Oscar Wilde line of there's only one thing worse about that. There's only one thing in the world worse than being talked about, and that is not being talked about. Tony Khan lives that, man. He really does.
But I think at this present moment in time, while he's trying to like secure a new television contract, and there's rumors floating around about like WWE possibly engaging in talks with Warner Brothers Discovery, and like, could you imagine if something had happened to the point where they signed WWE, they signed Raw, and they brought Raw onto TNT or TBS and moved, because they've still got like a year left on AEW, and so they can move AEW wherever they want across their network of things. If they move them to Discovery, how much of a bloody nose that is for that company, especially a company that at the moment, if you were to believe the reports from Brandon Thurston, are really relying on a new TV contract to actually make them money, because at the moment they're in the minus still.
Oh God, absolutely they are.
So
they're not a touring band. They don't do house shows. They don't. I mean, TNA does house shows.
Yeah, but it's to the point where just like I just think it almost feels like in some cases is like, look, if you don't want to do the company the way we want to do the company, we're going to destroy this fucking thing from the inside to show you what we can do. Do you know what I mean? I'm maybe well off on this, but it almost feels like
conspiracy theory there. You know?
Yeah, it is very much like, I know it's very Tin Hatty, but it's sort of like just like subtle messages to Tony. And it just feels like they do it just coming up on every pay-per-view. Something happens leading into that week where, and it's not like, and I know people will go, oh, it's just the WWE, like, because none of these stories are coming from them. It's all coming from someone on their roster. Someone on their roster does something stupid.
Well,
and they get called at like 4 a.m. in the morning. Jericho decides he's going to attack Stephen P. New.
AEW's worst enemy is AEW.
Yes.
It is. It's its own worst enemy. Like, its major competition isn't WWE. Its major competition is the people behind it, because they just keep going, oh, I've got the ball. Oh, what do I do? I don't know. And by the time they put their hands up, the ball is gone. There is some interesting things in AEW. It's not all doom and gloom. But they need
not
to,
at all.
They
like,
need to watch.
Dynamite was a really good episode this week. Aside from the bullshit that happened in the main event, the rest of that show was pretty friggin' solid.
They need to watch like behavior a bit more. Anyway, Todd.
Yes.
What's a chicken salad?
Like, again, AEW. Danielson and Kingston today. Really fucking good match. Really, really good match. Please do go, because I know you haven't watched the show. Go and check that out, because it was a really good match and a good promo afterwards with him and Moxley, with Kingston and Moxley after that match. Really, really solid. Which, like I said, like, if you were to end Dynamite, if you just turned your television off after that show, after that match, that was a really fucking good show. And also, I will say, like, a chicken salad, I will say, but it's not something that you would really say was a chicken salad, but it was something that I thought was really well done, really, because I thought, when they were setting it up, I'm like, this is going to be stupid. Why would you do this? This makes no sense. They're going to do a whole sit-down thing between, like, Christian and Adam Copeland. where they come in and sit down and they do their final barbs towards each other.
Mm.
And so for the first, Christian was there like a half an hour before, complaining that Edge wasn't there. And I'm just going to keep saying his name, fuck it. Edge wasn't there and he wasn't showing up, blah, 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 blah. So when Edge does show up, didn't say a word, just attacks Christian, which I thought was brilliant. Aside from him sitting there, exchanging words back and forth, actually showing there was some real fucking, animosity between the two. And not because if you really want to kill some dude to the point where you're having a no DQ match, you're not going to sit 5 feet from him because you said to Tony you're not going to hit him and talk calmly about what they're going to do to each other.
No,
so I thought that was really good.
I think it's also because of their friendship and because their friendship is public through the podcast and through the ENC show that totally reeks of awesomeness, which does, by the way, it's hilarious. I think that they run a risk if they put the two of them in a room together to talk, and everyone's just going to go, nah, they're great mates, and they'll look for bits where they're being great mates. It's a distraction. But if you actually have them just beating the shit out of each other, it becomes, I want to see that on the show.
Yeah.
That's a really nice chicken salad. I'm pleased to hear you say that.
What is your chicken salad, my friend? Before you do that, Alex Fireheart said their chicken salad is this week we are getting another Nakajima Miyahara match before the year's end, and this time for the Triple Crown in All Japan.
Oh mate, I am so impressed with your quick acceleration on the Japanese names.
It's hard to get it right if you say really quickly.
Next week, you're doing like Adam Copeland. Next week, you're doing the review of New Japan by yourself.
Did I get any of that wrong? It's Miyahara, isn't it?
Miyahara. It's Miyahara.
Yeah. Shut up!
Next week, my chicken salad this week was actually Monday Night Raw. They did a really smart thing this week. They played the best matches of the year, the best moments of the year. They include pay-per-view matches. They included Punk's return. They played all of War Games. It was just really good. Yes, it was slightly lazy, but one thing they did, and I really appreciated this, is they played Gable against Gunther. Now, I don't think they, maybe it's my Gable love and mind, but I don't think they did this just for shits and giggles. They did this to remind you, A, of how good Chad Gable is, and B, to keep that feud on top of mind. Because now Gunther's finished with The Miz, because that match last week has to have ended the feud.
That was really good too. Because
it was great. And Miz was one of Miz's best matches, not, with someone not named Danielson. But I think that this was done to remind you of it and start building towards it again, probably sometime early April, I'd say, and probably a submission match or something like that.
The ironic thing is apparently that was the lowest rated Raw of the year or something like that. It was,
and in my opinion, it was one of the best Raws of the year. 90% of that is because of Gable's little girl sitting in the front row, who was such a fan. So good.
Also, I will say, very nice thing that they sent everyone home for Christmas.
I think that's awesome. That ties into my chicken salad, actually. That was going to be sort of attached to that, is the fact that WWE are making sure people are home for birthdays, making sure they're home for births, making sure that, and yes, in later years, Vince definitely gave people time off for births, up to about 4 days. But, and I know that sounded funny, but it's actually, for him, that was incredible. But now, now they're given, a decent amount of time. They're written out of TV. They go and make sure the kids are right. I think that's lovely, and I'm really, really pleased with the steps WWE are taking.
Gee. Right, before we go, my friend, because that's all of our chicken salads, chicken shits out of the way. Tell us more about WrestleBrania, mate. Oceania Pro, StarCast. What's going on there? What's crack-a-lacking? I don't know why I said that.
We can't say anything about that.
Well, then why is it written?
Where is it written?
Down on the sheet, lower.
No. If you have a look, I should open the sheet, shouldn't I? If you have a look, I finally really popped
trying to do the right thing. You've dropped me well in it.
Oceania Pro are going to come out with more information on the 7th of January. That's what's written there. No, the two items are separate. I should have returned.
Commas are good, you know. Commas are good, and they help.
Commas are good.
Denoting different notes.
Look out for the Oceania Pro announcements. I think they're going to be great. And WrestleBrania, we are, as I mentioned, we are off to Perth on the 24th of February at Linnet's Lounge. Going to be a lot of fun. We've got some fantastic guests lined up. We've got some people we've mentioned on the podcast very, very recently. We've got some very exciting announcements. I'm really thrilled to be going back to Perth. Perth, if you're listening, people in Perth, you were absolutely amazing to WrestleBrania last year. It's a whole new show this year. New people, new stuff. So please, new games. Make sure you come down and check it out.
All right, guys. Well, if you haven't already, make sure you check out, speaking of checking things out, us on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X. We're all there under Wrestle Radio AU or Wrestle Radio. Just look up Wrestle Radio Australia. You'll find us. We're there. We're everywhere. We're omnipotent when it comes to social media.
Yeah, we're all
we still have our charity thing open up till the end of the year. So tinyurl.com/WRA10 to donate to Gotcha for Life, the cause that helps with mental health issues, which is very, very important in our times, especially around the holidays too, because holidays can be a dangerous time for people that are alone and lonely. So please do. And if you are home and you're not feeling the best, you're feeling alone, you're feeling like you need to talk to someone, reach out and talk to somebody, please. There are plenty of lines out there that you can go to help. Reach out to your mates, reach out to your friends, just talk to someone, because we all know that these times of years can be at times very lonely and can be very, very sad. So please do go and reach out if you are in trouble. We Wrestle Radio AU everywhere, so go and catch us there. All our stuff's up on Redbubble. Just check out Wrestle Radio Australia. Check out WrestleRadioAustralia.com because all your links are there. So that's a good way to do it. Maybe I should have done that. If I was Lachlan, I probably would have done that properly.
Yeah.
Jeff, where can they follow you, my friend?
They follow me at Jeff_Seti or at Wrestle_Brania. Lots of shows coming up next year. Really excited to start that off with, obviously, Wrestle Kingdom, but hopefully we do the awards before then.
Yes, yeah. Well, like I said, we will talk about that. We will get the message out to you. We could have done it tonight, but we would have just been arguing, and it would never come to a consensus between the two of us.
And I think that I really value the awards for people behind the scenes. It's, if you don't know, that's kind of my baby. That's kind of the show that I sort of put the categories together and make sure that it's good, and then the boys give me some feedback and we tweak it and make sure it's all nice. And I would want Lachlan to be here as well because I think he values it too, as you do.
Yes, of course. And we're also trying to work on something for maybe in the middle of next year that'll be a bit exciting as well. So just dropping that little one out there for people to know.
Yeah, I think it's really exciting.
Yes. Thank you for putting up with me with my highly nasally, cold-ridden voice tonight. For Todd Eastman.
Thanks for putting up with me after I've taken my special medicine. Anyway, that's
a weekly thing, brother. That's a weekly occurrence. Oh, my Lord.
Keep going.
For Todd Eastman, Jeff Seti, this is Wrestle Radio Australia, making chicken salad. We will see you next week.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People